should we just talk here?
I know.
Okay.
I'm just going to stare at this camera now, like this.
CM Punk.
Yes.
How are you, sir?
Hello.
It's good to see you again.
It's good to be seen. I don't know what I'm doing here.
No, you look great.
I'm going to fidget the whole time.
No problem.
Okay.
Okay, so here we are. It is September 7th. We are 3 days away from your MMA debut. And you know what's interesting? Everyone, including myself, has been saying this has been a 21-month journey for you. But in fact, it's actually been a lot longer than that. It's almost been exactly 2 years from the moment, because when we found out about your signing was several months after you actually had come to terms with the UFC. So this is almost like a 2-year journey for you, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to consider how long that I actually wanted to do this, it's a lot longer than that. But
right.
Yeah, 2 years, 2 months, 10 years, I don't know. It's all relative. We're here.
Right. What is it like actually being here? Not in Milwaukee, not in Chicago. It's fight week. You're doing all the fight week things. You just wrapped up the open workouts. I have to admit, for me, it's a little bit surreal.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that for sure. But I mean, when I was packing up the car with way too much shit, I might add, we were both excited, me and Ape. You know, throwing Larry in the car, get to go on a little bit of a road trip. I think we love doing that. It's probably the plan for after the win is to jump in the car and just drive around, go see different things. You know, travel for fun. You know, with each other, something that we've never gotten to do.
Right.
But this whole experience is awesome. It feels great. Even the sucky stuff, I'm trying to just enjoy, just roll with the punches.
Does it feel like you thought it was going to feel? Is it different?
I don't know if I visualized, you know, if I visualize stuff, but I visualize like being in the cage and, you know, the fight. I don't think I visualized, you know, media week or media days or, you know, I mean, if it was up to me, I probably wouldn't do any of it because, you know, it's not like going to the arcade and playing skee ball. It's something you actively want to do. It's just part of it. So you have to do it. So you got to learn how to enjoy it.
What's surreal to me is that the first time we did one of these sit-down interviews was actually standing in 2012. At that point, you were just famous guy who likes MMA, and the UFC happened to be in town. 2013, it seems like you're a little more interested, but you're not really telling us that you want to do this. Like you said, oh, maybe in a previous life, I would do this. Yeah. 2014, it seems like you're checked out, and that actually was your last interview before checking out.
Yeah.
And then 2015, you're signed. But to watch, like I went back to watch the first one, to see that arc, and then to be here 3 days before your debut is sort of mind-blowing, that you actually got to this point.
Yeah. Kind
of feels like a victory in its own right.
I'm a crazy dude. You know, however you want to assume how I got here, it's because I'm tenacious and I'm stubborn. You know, I would think if I want something, I go out and I get it.
Was there ever a point though that you thought you wouldn't get to this point? Was there ever a point with the injuries, the setbacks?
No, I never get that negative. I get bummed. I think it's healthy to allow yourself to be bummed and, you know, feel shitty. You know, but after a while, you just got to pick yourself up. The back surgery really sucked. You know, but after a while, thinking about it, because my reaction was, oh, I'm going to have to hear about how, this is a phony injury and stuff like that. But then, you know, after 15 minutes of feeling sorry for myself, I went, well, no, wait a minute. Like, who's saying that? It's not my wife. It's not my sisters. It's not my coaches. It's not my team. It's nobody who matters. So you can't focus on that stuff. So for me, it was just like, well, this is what I now have to do to get to this goal. So it was all about just extensively rehabbing my back, and it's the best thing that ever happened to me. A completely different person in the gym post back surgery.
Really?
A completely different person.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it was really resisting what you were doing. It was holding you back.
Yeah. Like.
Were you worried about it? If you didn't get to the point where you needed back surgery, were you thinking like, man, if I have to fight with this kind of back, when it was just sort of tolerable, was it a concern?
It's hard to say. No, it wasn't a concern. I just assumed that, you know, everybody in the gym was just like, you know, that much better than me, and which they are, you know, but I couldn't do stuff physically that I used to be able to, but I never equated it to, oh, you've been walking around with a herniated disc for probably 4+ years.
Wow.
You know, and we don't know how long I had it, but that's, you know, it was herniated so bad that they're like, we could give you a shot. It's not going to do anything. You know, you got to cut that thing out. You know, so that was That's how bad it was herniated. And I woke up post-surgery in the hospital pain-free.
Wow.
Like, and it was just something that was there bothering me that I just kind of ignored for the longest time. It was gone.
So pre-surgery was the lowest moment when you found out you needed the surgery.
I mean, I found out minutes before I was going to walk out to watch my potential opponent fight. You know what I mean? And I knew I was supposed to go in the octagon. And I was like, can we not do all this? You know, like, it was already set in motion, but I was just like, well, what do we, like, I have to get this surgery now. Like, why?
What a strange range of emotions that must have been.
That's why the me being in the octagon that day was just so awkward.
Right.
Because I was already checked out. Mentally, I was already like, I got diagnosed, that was what, a Saturday?
Yep.
So Saturday, hey, you have this herniated disc and it's really bad. Sunday, so they were like, Sunday we'll fly, I'm flying home to Chicago. Monday, I had the appointment to go see the doctor in Chicago, and I got surgery Wednesday. So I was, I'm staring at Mickey like I'm getting surgery. But I wasn't telling anybody. So that's why it was so awkward.
But there was never a point where you were like, you know what, let me just bounce and disappear, and all these people will shut up. That was never even an option.
No.
It's amazing.
I don't think so. I don't know what the big deal is. It's just,
What's amazing is because it did take longer than you expected, right? When you made that announcement with Joe Rogan, you didn't think it would be almost 2 years.
No, and I didn't want it to be this long.
Right.
But, life happens.
I remember Duke Rufus saying, when you joined, the team, I need a year. Let me have a year with the guy and then we'll talk.
Yeah.
Of course, it went longer. But when you guys were talking about, like from the very first day, when you guys were talking about his expectations and how ready he wants you to be for the debut, did you both feel like you'd feel the way you are now? Like, have you exceeded your expectations as far as preparation? Do you wish you had a month or two more? Do you get what I'm saying?
No, I was ready like months ago.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think you can over-prepare just like you can overtrain for something. And I can't be, you talk about the moral victories and stuff like that. Like, I feel like I already won. I can't be more prepared. Obviously you progress in your martial arts career and you get better and you learn new things and, you can sharpen skills and stuff like that. But as far as the first fight goes, like, I can't be more ready.
He told me that he sensed a big shift in your attitude, your preparation. The moment you came back and knew that you were fighting Mickey, I know you had the setback, but once you had an opponent, things changed drastically. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
Why?
Focus, I suppose.
You had a target.
Yeah. It's hard to like, singularly focus on something if there's no target.
Do you enjoy sort of sharing this journey with him?
With Duke?
No, with Mickey.
Oh, with Mickey.
He is part of the story, right?
No.
You need a dance partner.
I mean, yeah, I got to fight somebody, but it could have been
Does
anybody.
it bother you that it's him on this journey, that he's getting the rub, that he's getting some of this? No.
No.
Is he deserving of this?
Sure, why not? I don't think he thinks so.
Right.
Yeah.
What does that tell you?
Tells me he already lost.
Really?
Yeah.
So when you see him, what are you seeing? Are you seeing doubts? Are you seeing a guy who doesn't feel like he's ready to be here? Like, when you read the guy, if you do read the guy, what do you see?
I mean, I haven't seen him this week, and I don't watch tape on him. I've seen his fights, but I just need to watch him the one time. I think me and him, as much as people don't want to admit, he's what, 2-0, I'm 0-0. That's a perfect fight. I think he trains to be the best Mickey, and I train to be the best Phil. He's not. There's not any tape on him. There's barely any footage on him. So It's just like, how are we going to try to dissect each other and stuff like that? Seems like a nice guy. This is business.
So he hasn't said anything or done anything that really pissed you off, that got under your skin?
No, I think he says things, he's a young kid. I think he says things that he feels, or he probably heard another fighter say and he has to say.
Right.
He's going to beat me in 40 seconds. That doesn't make me mad. That makes me happy.
Right.
Pressure's on you. What happens when you don't? What happens when I triangle you? What happens when I punch you in the face? That's what's so romantic about MMA to me. These two supremely confident people going in there.
Right.
And then when the lights are brightest, you find out.
I feel like one can make the case that there is an incredibly low amount of pressure on your shoulders if we're going to measure pressure, because so many people have counted you out already, and now it's on him to beat up the pro wrestler because they think that he's the favorite 4-1 or something like that. You sense that as well?
I suppose I'm not really paying too much attention to it. I love the fact that I'm an underdog, though. Somebody said that to me.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm all Han Solo. Never tell me the odds. But it's great. I would much rather be an underdog than a favorite. I've never been a favorite in anything in my entire life.
A funny thing has happened, though, along the way. I feel like you've become a sympathetic figure. Maybe it's the show, but I feel like at first people were like really all up in arms, but now I'm getting a lot of people, even today, saying, man, I'm rooting for the guy. I want the guy to win. I like what he represents. I like what the story represents. Have you sensed a shift in that regard?
No, not really.
No. It's the same BS.
No, I'm staying completely off of social media and everything, so I'm not. I'm assuming that's where you're sensing it from.
No, people are coming to me directly, texting me.
People don't talk to me about that stuff.
Sure.
Yeah, they're not going to say.
Right, but on the street, I don't know if you've been just getting the feeling that more people are pulling for you as we're drawing near, because I have.
I mean, when I'm on the street, like in Milwaukee, and even today, like I'm at the grocery store, and the guy's like, hey, good, get them Saturday. I'm like, right on, cool.
Right.
It feels nice.
Yeah. A lot has been made of the fact that when you were in WWE, you were known as one of the greatest talkers, right? But you're not the entertainer here. You're yourself. You're not playing a character. And I feel like some people were hoping that you would play that character. And I don't know if the UFC officials were hoping you'd play that character, but you're not, dropping pipe bombs, so to speak.
Right.
Did you ever feel like you had to do that? Did you ever feel like you had to talk smack and things like sell anything?
No.
Pay-per-views?
And I'm sure if I was fighting somebody I really didn't like, but there's no emotional, I don't feel the need to try to force an emotional response out of my opponent, out of my fans, you know what I mean? To me, it's just, it's a fight. That's all it is.
Have you ever prepared for something for so long where the payoff, and I know the journey has been a payoff in its own right, but the payoff is really 15 minutes? Because when you were wrestling, preparing, you were having matches along the way, and I know sparring, but you know what I mean? Like, have you ever prepared for something for this long, for one moment in time?
I don't think so, no.
What's that like?
It's pretty rad. I don't got to travel. I get to sleep in my own bed every night. But it's fun.
Did you elicit memories? Did it feel like the old days when you packed the car and went to the vet? You're back on the road, so to speak, but it's one night only. Did this feel sort of familiar to you?
Yeah. I mean, I've driven I-80 out from Chicago to Philadelphia to wrestle for $30, and had to double back for an afternoon show Sunday in Milwaukee. So I've been up and down these roads. I know all the rest stops. I know which one has a Sbarro, which one has a Cinnabon, which one has the Panera.
When's the last time you were in Cleveland?
I guess when I walked out.
So it was that night.
Yeah.
That's a crazy thing. Did that hit you right away?
No, I haven't really thought about it.
No, but January 2014, you were in that building. You walk out.
Yeah.
When you got the date for your debut and it's 2:03 in Cleveland, did it hit you right away that it's Cleveland and it's that arena?
No, that's why I jumped at it.
You did, okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
You knew right away. You made the connection.
Did they know? Oh, Cleveland, that's great. I can drive. Oh, wait a second.
Wow.
Yeah. Do
you think they knew, the UFC?
No.
That's crazy. Of all the buildings, they've never been to this building before.
It's poetic.
That's a bizarre thing. And people have told you feel like you're cursed in this city? Why? What else has happened here?
I've been saying that for a while, and I don't even like saying that anymore because it's all, curses are bullshit.
Yeah.
It's your mindset. Because me leaving wasn't a bad thing at all. It's something that needed to happen.
Right.
And I'm so much better for it now, I'm happier. I'm in a better place. So how could you say that's a curse,
Did other things happen here before then, or only because of that one night?
I just always, if I had to think about it, I was supposed to debut in that building with Mickey James, and that fell apart. That's when I got sent to developmental. Bob Holly punched me in the eye as hard as he can on my first Christmas loop.
That's not nice.
No, it wasn't. I love Bob though. So, man, that business needs more guys like him right about now.
What do you mean?
I just mean there's nobody in that locker room that, like to me, there's nobody in that locker room that's in a good way an enforcer.
Okay.
Nobody's going to pick up the locker room.
Right.
You know what I mean? Nobody's going to clean up after themselves. They just destroy stuff. It was happening when I was there. I was the guy that was picking stuff up, and that's because, Eddie Guerrero always told me, hey, pick up the locker room. Yeah, can you pick up the locker room before you go? And I'd be like, yes, sir. You know what I mean?
So what do you mean pick up the locker room? Like clean it up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of slobs.
Yeah,
Just leaving their. I see guys take their wrist tape off and just throw it on the ground.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Right next to a garbage can, stuff like that. So if you had a guy like Bob in the locker room, you're not trying to do that shit.
Okay.
But I'm not there. Who gives a shit?
Right. Do you keep tabs?
Doesn't mean no.
Nothing.
No.
Never check it out.
Mm-mm.
Wow. So that night, even though in hindsight it was a great night, at the time, a low moment because it's the unknown. You're walking out, you're leaving your job, and now you come back, and maybe one of the best days, regardless of what happens, of your life on Saturday, right? Like, of course, we want to know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But that's a strange thing.
That's life. It's fucking rad.
In the same place.
Yeah.
I still can't wrap my head around that. What are the chances?
I don't know.
Do you recall what you were thinking as you left that building in 2014?
Yeah.
What were you thinking?
Whew.
You're free.
Yeah, I want to go home.
How quickly were you thinking about MMA?
I mean, at that moment, I wasn't.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It took me a while. Like I was sick for a long while, and it took my wife forcing me to go to her doctor to find out like what the silly thing on my back was. And get that thing lanced out and get on antibiotics, and then like it took me a while to kick all that out. So I was just laying in bed for a while.
When does the MMA dream start?
I mean, before that, but I guess maybe it became a reality. I don't know if I had gone to a fight. I'm not sure, but I remember Lorenzo being like the one, like, hey, you're done. What's going on? You going back? You ever think of doing this? I was like, I think about doing this all the time. And it was an offhanded comment, and then I think from there it just kind of snowballed.
How much do you weigh now?
Right now?
Yeah.
When does this come out?
Later tonight.
You
don't want to share. Why are you so secretive about your weight?
It's it's a thing. It's a thing I got to do.
Okay.
It's not going so well, I guess.
You've hinted at this. Has it been tougher than you expected?
I mean, it's not fun.
Have you ever done a weight cut?
Nope.
Did you do a practice one?
Nope.
Are you worried?
Nah.
No. Is someone helping you?
How so?
Nutritionist? No.
No, I don't. I mean, I think some guys need that. I don't. It's common sense to me.
You have to hit 171. When's the last time you weighed 171?
High school?
High school.
8th grade, maybe.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you regret fighting as a welterweight?
No.
No.
No, I think the 185ers, being around like Rashad and Luke, seeing how big and lean they are. Like I look at it like there's a lot of guys that were fighting at 185 that are now fighting at 170. That they're just smaller guys in that division because guys cut so much weight.
Right.
This is perfect. I got people in my gym who joke like, oh, you can make 155. And then I get angry about that.
Was there a moment at the gym when they said goodbye to you, with Pettis there, or Duke, or Tyron, or Ben? Like, was there a moment? Okay, the journey is now. We've reached that final step. Did you guys come together? Did anyone have a heart-to-heart with you and tell you what to expect? What was that last day like?
No, I felt like I was in detention because Fridays is our wrestling day, and it's normally like the hardest day. And it winds up being my hardest day, my last day at camp, and I did the way things lined up. you got somebody from Embedded coming out to film you, and it's just like it's the last thing you need at that point. But I did strength and conditioning at 10, and the night before, Duke texts me and says 12:30 at the gym tomorrow. We'll go over stuff, and I was like, I never say no. If you text me right now, I'd split, go do whatever coach says. So I was like, all right, 10 o'clock, strength and conditioning. It's a bit of a drive away. I told him I'll be there, but I might be a little bit late. I made it in time, so I did 10, 12:30, and then 1:30 with the class. I was so exhausted by that point, but I'm not going live anyway because at that point it's just like, don't hurt, punk.
Right,
you know what
right.
I mean? So I just drilled with my wrestling coach the whole time, and it was more just about putting on a pace. But talk about blowing it out your last day, your hardest day. That was a rough day.
And then when you walked out of the gym, like, what were you thinking? What were you feeling?
I needed to go home and go to bed.
That was
I
it.
needed a nap.
There were no emotions.
No, it was go home, take a nap, and then assess how you feel and work out again later. This is about it.
So there wasn't a nice little scene where
I didn't get a parade or anything like that. No.
You don't want that.
No.
Did a Pettis come up to you and give you any advice on what to expect? I mean, this is your debut, and I know you've competed in front of people, but did he say, like, hey, man, when you get to the locker room, any words of wisdom at all from anyone?
I mean, he's going to be here.
Yeah,
so,
you'll have that moment.
He'll probably give it to me when he gets here Friday. And, there's a lot of guys that are coming out
they coming?
that have reached out and said, that they're going to be here. And, some probably aren't specifically just coming because of me, but like Cody Garbrandt reached out and said he was going to be there, and I was like, that's awesome. Tyron's coming. Anthony's going to be here. There's a lot of guys on the team that are either driving or coming out. I know Sergio's going to be here.
Wow.
So it's super cool. A lot of support.
Come a long way from when you were coming to see his title fight at 185, when you were kind of just the new guy.
Yeah.
Now they're all coming to see you. That has to feel good.
I mean, it's nice to have the support. You know what I mean? Like, you hear about guys say that the team that they're on is like a family environment, but it's true. So to experience that's cool.
Did you watch the Evolution of Punk show?
No.
Why?
I lived it.
You lived it.
Yeah.
No interest.
I mean, not now certainly because I'm so focused on Saturday. You know what I mean? I maybe I'll watch it later, and I know. I just hear nothing but positive things about it. So that's.
You were never tempted, like, oh, let me just see what they caught, how they showed me. No. The first time I met you, the first time we talked about this potential journey and opportunity, your wife said she wasn't a real big fan, and she was kind of a little bit squeamish about everything. And on the show, they show her coming to watch you spar. And so is she going to be there?
Yeah.
In attendance?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Is that important for you?
Well, we've discussed like where she's going to be. She's like, where do you want me? Because for her to be out in the crowd, she's a familiar face. You know what I mean? And I just don't want anybody bothering her. I don't want people yelling junk at her and stupid stuff. That's my wife, obviously. So, I'd imagine she'll probably watch it in the back. But that's just so she's comfortable. You know what I mean? I don't need anybody catcalling my wife.
Of course. But she's obviously here to support you. What are her emotions? Like, you're about to get into the real fight now.
Dude, she's more ecstatic that I have to wear underwear on a scale for
Dwayne?
weighing. You know what I mean? She's like,
that stuff.
Yeah, stuff like that.
But has she ever had a heart-to-heart with you? It's like, I'm a little worried, I'm a little anxious, because it did seem
everything from her is, I wake up in the morning, she's like, hey, you're one day closer. How exciting is this? This is super cool. You're almost there. You can eat on Friday, stuff like that.
Did she make the calendar? Because you guys were talking about a calendar.
She didn't make the calendar. She made a whole bunch of food before we left and packed it up, put it in a cooler, and brought it with.
What is the part that you're most looking forward to? Is there something that you're most looking forward to out of this week?
Winning.
Is there something that you
just winning?
Do you dream about it a lot?
Yeah.
Like, is this constantly on your mind?
Yeah.
Like, if I ask you what's going on in this corner of the world or with this news story, you have no idea what's going on anywhere?
Normally I'd probably have a good handle on things, but yeah, this week now.
And a lot of times people say that they replay something going on, a finish, a sequence, a moment. Does that happen to you?
Yeah.
Can you share?
I'm big on visualization. I talk to Duncan Keith a lot. There's a name drop.
There it is.
Yeah.
Chicago Blackhawks.
Yes. I mean, good friend of mine, you know what I mean? And we swap training philosophies, recovery, you know what I mean? And it's great because he's just like me, where he's just like, I don't know if this shit works. Yeah, hey, do you do cryotherapy? Yeah, you like it? Yeah, I like it. Does it work? I don't know. Well, let's just do it. You know what I mean? So he told me, he's like, I'm big on visualization. You know, he's like, I do it all the time. You know, and I truly believe, you know, if you put something out in the world, McGregor's great at this. You know, I'm gonna knock him out. I'm gonna hit him with my left hand and, you know, the first round, and then he does it. You put it out there in the world, you know. I truly believe it comes back to you, you know. So all the people, you know, if you say, oh, I don't belong here, oh, I don't deserve to be on this pay-per-view card, fuck you, you don't. You know, I belong here. I believe in myself. I visualize myself winning in every situation. You know, I've had the barn burner knockdown drag out fight of the night, you know, where I win a split decision. I've had the he tries to shoot, he eats a knee. You know, he tries to stand up and throw a lazy jab at me, and he pays for it. You know, I relive every little thing. I even goes as far as to get in bad positions, and you know.
So there isn't one that keeps coming up over and over again.
Yeah, there is. I'll tell you about it later.
Okay, but there is one.
Yeah.
Wow, that is amazing. I'm curious. Maybe we can talk about that, and then I'll remember it afterwards. You know, when I interviewed you at Mandalay Bay right after the announcement, I asked you a whole bunch of questions, and you didn't know many of the answers. Where are you going to train? What weight class? So it was kind of like a weird moment, but most of them have been answered right now, except for one.
Oh boy.
And it's one.
I have a feeling you've been wanting to ask me whatever is coming.
Well, you know, the problem is you've been asked, but I was hoping that you were saving it for us.
Okay.
What's the song going to be?
Oh man. I thought I knew, and now today, listening when I was working out earlier, I heard a couple on my iPod in rotation, and I was like, ooh, I don't know.
So you haven't decided yet?
There's a top three.
Wow.
Yeah.
When's the deadline?
I don't know. They asked me when I checked in what my song was going to be, and I couldn't give them an answer yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what everyone wants it to be, obviously.
Something by Talking Heads. I don't know what.
Well, it's your famous song, the song that you're associated with. Has that been ruled out?
I came out to a lot of awesome songs in my pro wrestling career, so it could be any one of them.
Cult of Personality, is it ruled out, or is it still on the table?
No, it's on the table.
It is on the table?
Yeah.
Wow. That place will go insane.
You think?
I think so.
Do you think? Because I'm that guy where I'm just like, I don't know what the big deal is. Do people care?
They will go...
Who asked me at the scrum today, like what I thought the reaction was going to be, and I haven't even thought about it yet. Like I don't know.
They will go insane.
Because I almost don't like when I say I don't care, I don't mean to be insulting the fans who support me and stuff like that, but I just never thought about it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like to whereas before I was so geared to, I got to come out here, and I got to make them love me.
Right.
You know, like if I was in a city that was notoriously hard on me, you know what I mean? Or like somewhere down south where like you see a guy like me, you want to boo, and I got to get, you know, like I would think about that constantly. Oh, I got to get him to cheer. Or if I was, you know, being the bad guy, and you know, the best villains are so good sometimes people don't want to boo him, they cheer him, you know. So I had to deal with that in my career too. Okay, how do I get these people to boo me? I'm going to be so relaxed Saturday because I'm not worried about that.
Yeah.
So I haven't thought about whether they're going to boo or cheer either way.
Historically, though, how do they treat you here?
In Cleveland?
Yeah.
Really well.
Really well.
Yeah.
Close to Chicago.
Yeah.
I would have guessed that you weren't going to use the song just because you don't want to blur those lines. But the closer we get to it, I feel like people want you to use the song.
Well, here's the thing about that. When I was playing baseball when I was a kid, I was on a team called the Indians. And our team song in 1989 was Cult of Personality. So
wow.
Yeah, it goes back.
Holy crap.
It goes back farther than.
There's a lot that's going on here.
It goes back farther than wrestling, yeah.
Wow. Mm-hmm. That is strange. Just to be clear about this whole story with the commission and everything that came up, no issues, right? They haven't given you a hard time. You haven't had to do anything extra. This is something that just came out of nowhere and has not been a nuisance to you at all, correct?
No, that was the first I heard of it.
Right.
Yeah.
You still feel like people are bothered by this?
Look, my thing is, if you don't like me,
yeah.
If you don't agree with me fighting and you think it's unfair, don't watch.
Yeah.
Why do you stress yourself out? You know what I mean? Like, why do you put yourself through that? Why do you care? I think secretly they love me. You know what I mean? I don't sit around and talk about people I don't like. It's not on my mind.
Have you thought about that? Maybe this is somewhat of like a throwback to the early days of the UFC when guys would come in. You don't really know about their past. They say that they're like 150-0, but we know it's not true. And you're fighting the karate guy. And this is really how the UFC started in many ways.
I mean, it's certainly how MMA started.
Right.
You know, it had its roots in pro wrestling and stuff like that. It's how Pride started, Takata and all that. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
I'm into it.
And to set the record, you're not here for one and done.
Mm-mm.
You're thinking about even, I heard you talk about maybe Vegas the next one and then Chicago. How many fights do you have?
I brought so much stuff with me. I had to pack so much stuff. I think I just want all my fights to be in Chicago now.
Okay, yeah. That would make a lot of sense.
Obviously, that's not practical, but yeah.
But would you want a long break between this and your next one?
I don't know. I don't think I can answer that until
it happens.
Yeah, you know what I mean. See how I feel and everything like that. I'm definitely I owe it to Larry, April, and myself to take some time. She's done writing her book, so we can go on a bit of a family outing, so to speak. Go visit some friends, eat some food, stuff like that.
Overall, and as we wrap this up, from the moment that I believe Lorenzo and Dana, they flew to Chicago to meet with you.
Yeah, how wild
secretly,
was that?
right?
Yeah.
That
was like on their way. This is how baller they are. Like they stopped on their way to go talk to George St. Pierre. And
you hadn't signed the deal yet then, right?
No.
And that was almost 2 years ago. I think it was October of 2014.
Maybe, yeah.
Kind of weird that you outlasted Lorenzo Fertitta, by the way.
I don't know if I outlasted him.
Have you heard from him?
Yeah.
Oh, he has. He's reached out?
Yeah.
Wishing you luck or whatever? Did you tell him luck is for losers? I hope you did.
I'm sure I've said it to him in the past, yeah.
Will he be there? Probably not.
I doubt it. I think the last time, I sent him a text, we talked about the sale and stuff like that, and I was just like, well, I'm sad to see you go. Hope I see you. Hope you stick around and stuff like that. So I'm sure I'll see him.
So from that, those beginning talks from that moment till now, how would you, what comes to mind when I say, how has this journey been? Has it been, are you a different person from then? Has it changed you?
Of course.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm just in a much better place. I had a lot going on, and I still do. There's still stuff that I need to get out from underneath. It's very hard to look towards the future when you're you're forced to deal and stare at your past and stuff like that. I just want to be left alone, when in regards to my old life. I got no problem talking about it and stuff like that, but some people just gotta try to keep sucking you back in, and they won't let you go.
Like fans, you mean, or?
No. I just mean the silly bankrolled lawsuit.
Right.
Do
you want to address that at all? Where does that stand?
Probably shouldn't.
Okay.
I mean, it stands that they're doing everything. It's designed to get me to spend money. That's what it's doing.
Okay.
So it's just a source of stress that I just need to get out from under.
Is it a big source of stress?
If I let it be.
Okay.
I have good days and bad days.
Is the end near? Do you see a finish line here, or is it?
Yeah. There's a finish line for sure, but it's the way these things work. It's a bunch of BS.
Right. Because it's been going on for what, a year at least, right?
Over. Yeah.
Do you think that they're going to be watching on Saturday?
Oh, I don't know. I don't think so. Every single person in management always told me that they went out of their way to tell me that they weren't fans of MMA. So I don't imagine. Maybe they'll watch because they're secretly hoping I get beat up. Maybe.
You think?
Maybe.
Will you use them as motivation?
No.
F you guys? No. That's out of your mind.
Yeah.
Has one person reached out to you or two and said something to you that really kind of blew you away? Like said something like, hey man, thank you for doing this. You've inspired me to do. Someone send you a text that's come up to you. Is there a moment that sticks out in this entire thing that really touched you?
No, I mean off the top of my head, because you're putting me on the spot, no. But I've had a litany of people, like starting Monday, I've gotten the, hey, I know it's fight week. I'm not going to bother you on the day before, the day of. I just want to get this out of the way now, and it's a lot of people. It's some people that I'm, friendly with, but I haven't spoken to in a while. You just reminded me. Somebody called me earlier and left me a voicemail, but I haven't had time to check it yet. So it's just everybody, a lot of people have reached out. It's been super positive and cool.
What do you do for the next few days? How do you prepare? Mentally, physically, what is the week looking like?
Well, I think the physical stuff's over. That's the hard part, and now it's just mental. But I've always been a super mentally strong person. I've never not believed in myself. So it's just sharpening that. It's just, sweating out some pounds and, trying to decide where I'm going to eat at 9:01 a.m. Friday.
And then what do you think Saturday will be like?
I probably won't sleep much. That's normal. Probably just try to relax, lay around,
Do you think it will, getting to the arena, do you think it will feel like any match you've ever been a part of, or will this be new emotions, new butterflies?
New butterflies. If they feel like the same old ones that I hadn't had for years, that'll be awesome. I'm excited about that. I said that at the scrum today. It's nice to feel like everybody has that fear. It's either fight or flight. I've always performed way better in high pressure situations, especially when I had people saying that I couldn't do it. It's just a switch that I can't turn on or off during training, during every day. But when I got in front of the people today for the open workout, I felt it. It's just something, I don't know. It's something that I have. I don't know if I was born with it. I don't know if I learned it, if I nurtured it. It was gone for a very, very long time, and now it's back. So Saturday you get to see that.
All right. I didn't think that this would become like some sort of tradition thing the first time I reached out to you for an interview, but what a journey from 2012, 13, 14, 15. It really is amazing to be here. It feels special, it feels unique, and I give you all the credit in the world for just getting here. And I know that no athlete wants to just get to a point. You want to win. That's the name of the game. Mm-hmm. But man, you could have bowed out a long time ago, and I don't think anyone would have given you crap, but you didn't. So kudos to you. I will not wish you luck. I learned my lesson, but I can't wait to see how this story unfolds. Thanks for all the time from 2012 to now. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
We'll do another one after I win.
Well, that will be the perfect way to end it.
Okay.
Thank you.